This is officially the ending of my Swift journey. It's been a good 6 months, but honestly, it is definitely time for me to move on and to better and greater things. I don't see myself doing this for a very long time at all. So it was great while it lasted, but there are some pros and the cons to it. But hey, this lifestyle isn't for me, especially OTR. But I made the best of it as much as possible. So we're gonna keep on pushing forward. A few years ago, I decided to go ahead and venture into trucking. The money was there, the freedom was there, and I thought it was my pathway for financial success. But ultimately, in the end, I walked away. And here's why. Now, let me go ahead and tell you why I got into trucking. The main reason why I got into trucking is because I was actually at a point in time in my life where I was a mechanic. I was a mechanic for like 4 to 5 years, and I decided that I don't want to be a mechanic either anymore. I was tired of getting dirty. I was tired of getting hurt. And with the shop that I was working at currently, I was actually a diesel mechanic working for a garbage company, and there was fatalities that happened there. So I didn't want to be one of those guys who, ultimately be fatal. But yeah, I was just like, looking for a career change. I knew that college wasn't a situation for me. I know I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of college whatsoever. I'm kind of truly against college. I'm more of like a trade skill type of guy or anything around that. So I was dating somebody at the time, and then they were trucking. And, ultimately it was a long distance type of relationship or like that. But like as I was listening and hearing into what they were saying, how much money they're making and the freedom that they're getting, it kind of intrigued me. So I did the research. As I did the research, I realized that you could travel the whole entire United States. You could work independently somewhat. The pay is a little bit different as well. So I was like, you know what? I'm the type of person that likes to try new things, right? So I went head forward into trucking. I went to a private school, got my CDL license within 4 weeks. I got my CDL license. I went ahead and hit up my contact, let my contact know like, hey, look, I got my CDL license. I'm ready to go. This is when Swift recruited me. I got recruited with Swift as a team driver. And then from there, I was able to get with a mentor and be able to work with a mentor to finally be able to become a truck driver. Now, I was a team driver, and honestly, I am happy that I made that transition. And the main goal for me was just wanting to have more freedom. As I was doing the research for truck driving as well, I realized that you were able to go ahead and explore the whole United States. And I was like, you know what? I like to travel. I'm young. I'm free. And I'm the type of person who likes to just ultimately try new things. And I wanted to also build up my skill sets. So now I have a CDL license, and now I'm a mechanic. And further down to the story, as you get to know me, you find out that I'm also a licensed adjuster. So now there were definitely things that I actually did enjoy while being a truck driver. The money was great. For somebody who was young, I believe I was 24 years old, didn't have a large overhead because at that time I was really living with my parents' house at the time. I didn't really have too much major responsibility, so I was able to stack up a lot of money during that moment of time for me to be able to have a nice, decent savings account. I was also able to see the whole United States, something that I would have never thought I would be able to do as a 24-year-old. Imagine being young, 24, driving around with his woman on the side, being able to see all the states. And I realized that I learned a lot about these different states that I went into. I know states that I would go back to. I know states that I would never go back to. I also learned the terrain of the United States and how different it is. More majority of the population is definitely towards the east side, whereas the west coast is kind of like a ghost town. Not really, but it's just not as populated as it is in the east coast. Trucking is definitely the responsibility. Now, the responsibility of being a truck driver is cool as well. I can say that because you're driving around in a big old semi truck loading maybe like a 56-inch trailer. You got to understand, with my prior mechanical experience, it's cool to see that now I'm able to transition from not only from the mechanical side, but as well as the operator side of things when operate these trucks. So as you're operating these trucks, you got to be able to maintain them and be able to make sure that it's well taken care of for you to be able to get to your destination. So being a truck driver definitely taught me a lot of discipline and responsibility. Now, here's the reality of it, right? Don't get me wrong. As a trucker, especially as a team driver, I'm speaking from a point of view of being a team driver specifically. And as well, I was also a nighttime driver. I drive long hours at night, right? I think I drove like around 10 hours each day, each night, I should say, to be able to get to these destinations. Now, mind you, as a team driver, the truck is always constantly moving. So it's not like you could go ahead and park the truck and then you get the nice quality sleep. During the day while you're trying to sleep, you know, my partner will be the one driving, and you will be going through a lot of rough roads or rough patches. That'll make you jump out of bed a little bit. Was I able to get good quality sleep? Probably not. If I were to rate it from like scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it like maybe a 6. But like you try to make it work as much as you possible, because at the end of the day, the sleep quality is super important for you to be able to get through the day, because my team member was responsible for me and I'm responsible for my team member as well. So it's super important for me to be able to get the quality of sleep that I need. But I'm not gonna lie to you, me and my team member, we were working nonstop, like every single day. And I'm not gonna lie to you, fatigue is a real thing. Fatigue is a real thing. So you ultimately will feel it over time, especially if you don't take long breaks. I think like that's probably like one of the biggest mistakes that I probably would fix. And that's just to prioritize rest as you are, as much as you're working. I don't think we were probably doing that. We were probably just working and 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 working, because we like to work, we hustlers, right? Another thing is too as well, you'll be alone. Not completely alone in the fact that, well, I wasn't completely alone because I know I have a team member there, but like when I mean like lonely, I mean like you would think that you have family members that go ahead and get in contact with you, friends that probably get in contact with you just to check up on you to see if you're doing okay, if you're doing well. But ultimately the real truth behind it is no, you won't get that type of contact at all. And it makes you question your friend group like, I'm gonna cut you off, I'm gonna cut you off, I'm gonna cut you off, I'm gonna cut you off. But like, but that's really the reality of it is. I speak to other truck drivers as well, and they experience the same thing. Like they don't really necessarily have any family members or friends that will reach out to them as they're out there over the road trucking. Ultimately, being away from home as well impacted my mental health a little bit, because while being at home, you'd be able to have like a routine. I'm a type of person who likes to go to the gym, who likes to have a nice, decent breakfast in the morning, who likes to have a nice routine. I'm a type of person who likes structure. I'm a structured person. Whereas when you're being a truck driver, there's no structure really as being a truck driver. You could try to make it the best way that you possibly can. But mind you as well, within my dynamic, I was a team driver. So you kind of have to compromise a lot based off the way you structure everything. So it could be a little bit different if you were a solo driver. I don't really necessarily know. I never really had that experience yet. You guys can go ahead and let me know. But as a team driver, to try to have that structure, there's a lot of compromise that you have to hold it into account when it comes to this situation like that. Also, you start missing out on some of the lifestyle that you used to do. Like back when I was here, I was able to go to the beaches whenever I want to. I was able to hang out with friends whenever I want to. I was able to go on dinner dates or, spend time with family members if I want to. But like when you're out there, the reality is you, that steering wheel, and the roads. That's just the truth. You, the steering wheel, and the roads, and the destination that you're trying to go to is ultimately all that matters, right? So burnout is a real thing. Burnout is definitely a real thing. I don't think I was able to handle burnout completely well when I was truck driving, especially with teaming truck driving. I could tell based off of my partner at the time that she was also burnt out as well and tired. And ultimately as well, we were getting into a lot of arguments, a lot of fights that would basically destroy our relationship that we have with each other. So that kind of prompted me to wanting to leave the industry a little bit more because of that situation. Because it's like, I honestly didn't really want to ruin the situation that I was in with my relationship at the time, because that was important for me. So I did the best thing that I needed to do. I did the best thing that I needed to do, which was to go ahead and reflect and think like, okay, it's been like about maybe 5 to 6 months since I've been doing this, right? Can I see myself doing this in the next 10 years? Part of me is like, maybe I can, right? And another part of me is like, you know what? Probably not. I can't see myself doing this in the next 5 to 10 years. I typically have like a long-term thinking type of mindset. So when I asked myself a question, if I could be able to do this within the next 10 years, the answer was ultimately no. And that's when clarity started to kick in. I started asking myself questions of what it is that I wanted to get myself into afterwards. So this is the moment of time where it clicked in my mind. As I was fatigued, burnt out, and I was looking at my partner at the time, seeing her burnt out, fatigued, the arguments that we used to have inside the truck, teen driving as well, it was a lot. I was given a lot of attitude as well. This attitude that I shouldn't be given. I've been feeling a little bit of attitude as well from my partner as well. So it was just a lot. It was just a lot. Like, I feel like if we didn't make that decision to go ahead and leave, we would have probably tore each other apart in that truck. I was just sitting down or laying down on my bed and thinking or reflecting about all the things that had happened and all the things that I'm missing out. And I was comparing my life before to my life now. I was looking at myself in the mirror whenever I go to the truck stops, and I was like, yo, I'm getting skinny. I miss getting haircuts, you know? You feel me? I miss getting haircuts, you know? I just feel like there's a part of me that just wasn't me at all. I just didn't feel like I just feel like I was losing confidence within myself. That's what hit me. When I imagine myself in the future, within 10 years, I realized like, no, this is not gonna be it. There's gonna be a moment of time where a transition is gonna happen. I imagine myself being in front of a computer, right? Making money somehow or some shape or form. I always imagined myself doing that when I was young, since I was maybe like 16. So I had to think to myself, like, does this make sense to me within the long run? And then ultimately the answer was no, it didn't. So once I got that clarity, I spoke to my partner about it and we discussed it. And ultimately I made the decision to leave the truck. So I packed all my bags, I kissed my baby goodbye, and then now I just ultimately just transitioned back to what I was doing before, and I was just being a mechanic. Funny, right? Our main purpose of leaving the mechanic field is to try something different and become a truck driver. I did it. I realized it wasn't for me. So then I went back to something that I remember doing, which was being a mechanic. Now, does that mean that I can never go back to being a truck driver again? Absolutely, I can be a truck driver again. I still have my CDL to this day, right? And that's the beauty of trying new different things at a young age. Trying goes a long way, and building skills goes a long way. So I went back home. I became a mechanic again. I worked, but I always remembered the vision that I had in my mind. I'd say, you know what? I want to be making money in front of the computer someday, right? Ultimately, I started businesses. I started trying doing FBA, day trading, textiles, something for me to be able to jump into and click. Finally, it clicked, right? After doing countless of research and trying some businesses that failed ultimately because I was trying to get money quick, right? I stumbled inside insurance. Now, I had some ventures inside insurance, but I was ultimately in the sales side of things. But as I dive into the insurance industry, I learned about the claim adjusting side. So I did some research about the claim adjusting side, and then I set a goal, I set a plan, applied to a company, and then now you're looking at me. Now I'm officially a claim adjuster at this present moment in time. So even though, so now you could say that I have mechanical skills, truck driving skills, and also claim adjusting skills. Now, if I were gonna go ahead and leave you guys a message or something, my message to give you guys is that never be afraid to try something new, especially when you're at a young age. I was a mechanic since I was a mechanic since I was 21, stopped being a mechanic since I was 23, became a truck driver at 24, stopped being a truck driver at 24, came back to being a mechanic again, and then ultimately transitioned into insurance when I hit 25, and then now moving forward, I'm in the insurance industry. I think 2 years in now. So yeah, never be afraid to try different things. And ultimately, if anything were to happen with me being in insurance as well, I have no problem being a mechanic again. I also have no problem being even a truck driver again. You wanna know why? Because the experiences that I have will always stick with me and stay with me, and I'm always able to go ahead and take those experiences, learn from them, and then also improve from them as well to get me to the next level. If you're in a situation where you're stuck at a job or stuck at a career that you're ultimately not really sure if you see yourself being in the next 5 to 10 years, take that jump. You never know where life is going to take you. You never know unless you actually try. And that's what I did. And look at me now. I'm actually a little bit more happy now than I was a couple years ago. And I'm happy that I did this transition. So here's what trucking taught me. I was fully independent. Yes, I had a partner there, but like besides my partner, truly independent. This was my first time I had left my parents' house. I was only like 23, 24, right? So it taught me a lot about independency and being able to be fully responsible, to be taking care of not only yourself, but your partner too, if you have your partner with you, and also the responsibility of having a truck that you have to deal with and work with and manage and make sure that it's maintained, right? So I learned a lot of discipline as well, because sleeping at night, right? I mean, not sleeping at night, but working at night to stay up, Red Bulls, right? Monster drinks, right? You know, give me a sponsorship, because I've been drinking, y'all. I've been drinking that all the time. I've been drinking that all the time for me to be able to stay up and be able to get to point A to point B. You're not supposed to do it, but you know, hey, you got to use whatever you need to use for you to be able to, you know, grind. It taught me a lot about work ethic, work ethic, work ethic. Let me say this is probably one of the hardest grinds that I did in my life. And the only reason why it's hard because I actually suffer from burnt out. So burnt out and fatigue. So also time management. It also taught me time management as well, because you have to get to the specific location at a decent amount of time. And otherwise it would defrost and it's gonna be ruined, and then that's about $200,000 or $300,000 going down the drain, right? So we had to get there at a certain amount of time for make sure that it gets to where it needs to be. And it also taught me financial awareness. Like I was able to save a lot of money. Again, not having a large overhead. I didn't have to worry about my car. Didn't have to worry about insurance like that. I was really able to stack a lot of money within the 6 months I was doing it for me to be able to get to the next level as far as finances. So if you were to ask me if I were to do trucking again, the answer is yes. Even though I did it for 6 months, I only got out of it due to the fatigue, the burnout that I was feeling, and the relationship that I was trying to preserve. Even though presently it doesn't fit my long-term goal, I would never discredit trucking. I give a lot of respect, a lot of praise to truck drivers. Ultimately, I didn't even know nothing about trucking at all or how serious it can be until you're actually in it. And guys, if you were to ever see a truck driver, please shake their hands, because they work hard to make sure that you have your goods in the retail stores for you to be able to purchase and grab and whatever like that, you know, because it's a lot of work. But with that being said, it's your boy Real Since 98, and I'm about ready to sign out.